All right, this is what we got going on, everybody. I'm going to just go over. There's 28 games here. I definitely could have added more games to this tier list, but I didn't because I thought 28 was going to be quite a lot. And to dive into them a little bit, it would have taken a ton of time. It would have taken a ton of time to get into it. So I kept it at 28. All right. So here on the screen in front of us, we have 28 different co-op horror games. These are games that can be played from anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 people. And we're going to go through each one of them individually, starting from the top and work on our way down to the bottom. We got S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier. And then, of course, the have not played for anybody who just doesn't know anything about the game. It doesn't want to give it a rating because if you don't know any data, then you can't say anything about it. So, okay, 7 Days to Die. 7 Days to Die is a co-op horror game that is survival based. It's really good. It's been around for so long. They just did a massive graphical overhaul recently, actually. If you didn't know, it just dropped like this week or last week. So I really think that this game is worth playing. If you haven't played it, you should play it. It's a zombie apocalypse game. Every 7th night, it gets a little bit more intense, and you have to like defend off against a horde of zombies. And it gets really, really crazy. It's actually, you could play it solo if you want to. I'm pretty sure the game gets a little bit easier if you're a solo player. So I definitely recommend giving it a shot. So I'm going to put this over in the S tier.
Hello there.
I was really considering putting this in A tier. The problem with the reason I was even considering putting it in A tier is because the game never came out of alpha. At least I don't think it did. So feel free to correct me in chat if I'm wrong. The game never fully released. And I don't think it's ever going to, which I think is a little bit of a downfall, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal. It allows them to do bigger updates, and then maybe at some point later in the future, it'll release on console or something. It actually may be on console already. All I know is I've only played it on PC, and I've loved it every single time I play. I love the progression system because you have talent points and all that stuff. You utilize the trader. You could do like these mini quests. You can build. Everything I love about survival games is great. Yeah, Forewarned is on here. Forewarned's on here. Phoenix, welcome on in. Thank you so much for the lurky. I appreciate you. Enjoy your dinner, friend. Okay, so the next game is Bigfoot, which I was already saying is a game where one person... What's wrong with 7 Days to Die, coach? I'm just being unrelated. No, you're good, coach. You're good. Listen, I love all feedback. I love talking about stuff like this. I'm a gamer. We're all gamers here, I'm sure. And I love like having open discussions about games. It's awesome. Like, especially the games we care about. Like, that's meaningful stuff. The zombies chase me and I panic. Oh, I feel that. Especially when you get later in the games and you get the more and more advanced zombies, like the ones that are armored and the explosive cops. Like, it gets crazy. To die, but that was more to do with people on the server, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, Kill. I'm never gonna play on a public server. I'm always gonna play on a server that I host and is only gonna be my closest friends, because if I play with randos, that's gonna be a shit show. I know from experience, and I hope you did not fall into that trap as well. Yeah, I saw you playing 7 Days to Die Blu-ray, the new update. It was great. It looked awesome. I can't wait to play it myself. All right, Bigfoot. A game where somebody, an AI or a person, can play as Bigfoot, and your friends or the team members, the players, have to go ahead and try to defeat Bigfoot with weapons, flares, traps, etc. I think it's a really good game. I don't have as many hours in as I would like. It's a very comedic game in a way, because you never know when Bigfoot's going to come out, and to be honest, it's just kind of pretty funny to be getting beaten around by Bigfoot. But I don't think it's a game where it's necessarily unbalanced. It is decently simple to defeat Bigfoot, and the team camaraderie it creates and the amount of teamwork it takes to defeat him is also very good. So it leaves a lot of room for skill to be had. I don't think that the game puts out as many updates as I would hope for, but honestly, it's a pretty good game. And I think it definitely is worth your time in purchasing if you have friends to play with, like close friends. Like, don't play in public lobbies or anything like that. If public lobbies even exist in the game, I haven't dove that far into it. I think I'm going to give Bigfoot A. I'm going to give it an A tier. Because honestly, I don't really have much bad to say about it. It's a very simple concept. It does it well, and it's well executed. Let's see here. Yes, thank you for the shout out to Blu-ray. If anybody's known Blu-ray, they're another wonderful variety streamer who plays a lot of chill games. And also, please check out Coach Chesney with that shout out there. Go follow their channel. They're wonderful people. Like I said, one of the founders of Midnight Society. That more like humorous horror and one to play with good friends. Exactly. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. And if you could do it in that setting, it's a really, really good game. Like if you could play with like some team members or some close friends and you're just laughing and having a good time, like on a Friday or Saturday night, like that's what this game is, and it does it really well. I love that. Next up, we got Boomen. Boomen's a little bit of an interesting thing because I think it's a very small dev team, if not a solo developer, and they're putting out a decent amount of content with the game, with given the size of the dev team. But it's definitely a game that has very limited replayability. I don't see myself saying like, oh my god, like I don't play 5 rounds of Boomen. I'm like, I need more. I'm like, okay, I've played 5 rounds of Boomen. I basically know what the items look like. I don't even have to look at the list at this point. I could go in there, try to find the very precise models, grab them, and leave. The monster mode to Boomen had added a whole new layer to the game that I think needs to be expanded on. But to be honest, some of the Boomen are a little bit unbalanced in that, and it's very early stages. So I think the game has room for expansion, but I don't think it's a fantastic game. It's just an okay game, and it's good for every now and then. And I think that's why you see me not playing on stream as much as I used to when it first released. And for that reason, I'm going to put it at C tier. It's not a bad game. It has room for expansion upwards. I don't think it'll ever be an S tier game, but honestly, it could move up to B or A. What happened? Oh, I see a game you're missing. You'll have to let me know where you rank Killer in the Cabin. Killer in the Cabin, we'll get there, I think. Once I get to like the Friday the 13th, we'll talk about Killer in the Cabin. Because I had thought about putting it in at one point, but it wasn't really as horror as I thought it could be. So I kind of left it out. I wasn't sure if it was a horror game. I was like, is this pure survival? Like, I wasn't too sure. But you make a good point, Coach. A really, really good point. It's blasphemy that it's not on the list. Wait, hold on. Where's Outlast Trials? Well, Outlast Trials is so new tactical. Like, that would definitely be an S-tier game. But I kind of felt like it was assumed at this point because it's so good. It's so much fun. People are loving it. So, like, I love it too. I do. All right, DBD. Oh, DBD's a hard one. Everybody here knows what Dead by Daylight is. I'm sure almost everybody's played it. It's a game that definitely has a lot of cool aspects in it. You get to play as some of the biggest killers out there and some of the biggest, like, you know, super, super amazing killers and, you know, survivors that also look like people we all know and love from TV shows and movies and stuff. But still, does that make it a good game? Does that make it sustainable? I don't know. And the problem is that the community is so overly toxic that it's also very difficult for new players to get in. And I think that's a big gatekeeping thing about the game. That is, it's very negative. So the gameplay is good. New player wise, it's terrible. And people honestly like don't enjoy. People get fed up of a season pretty quickly, and they don't like to play at the end of seasons because it's so toxic. So I don't know. I can go on and on about DBD, but I don't play it on stream for a reason. And due to the toxicity, it's going to go down a D. I'm sorry. I feel like even the people who love DBD feel like it's a bad game. Isn't that like, I feel like that's an honest thing. Like people are like, this game is great, but I freaking hate it. Did I miss a hydrate? I'm so sorry, Kikachu. I'll hydrate right now. Also, Chinggis, welcome on in. Chinggis, how are you doing? Happy Friday, my friend. Happy Friday to you. If anybody's know the wonderful Mighty Chinggis, another wonderful Midnight Society team member, if you're not checking him out, plays a lot of investigative horror games just like we do here. Phasmo, Ghost Exorcism Incorporated, many other things. Go check out his channel. Go show him some love. Yo, what's going on, Toes? How are you doing? Welcome on in. First time chatter. It's good to have you here. Hope you're having an amazing Friday, and welcome on into the Tater Talk crew. I know a lot of people were pretty happy about me putting DBD into the bottom rank here, so hopefully I made the right choice. All right, next game. We got Demonologist. Demonologist is a relatively newer game. It came out in March. Very similar to Phasmo in its investigative horror sense. The game has some issues with evidence gathering. The ESG is a pain in the ass, and we all know it to be true. I think the only people who don't know it to be true is the developers themselves, which is kind of infuriating. I like the puzzle aspect of the game. They do seem to be adding lore to the game. You can see it every single update they have. the game is like getting these little Easter eggs that adds to a storyline that I think is really meaningful and something Faz should have done a long time ago. And they tried to do with their Sunny Meadows update, but it kind of was a little lackluster in my opinion. So that aspect of Demonologist is good. The jump scares are incredible. The fact that they actually went and did the jump to Unreal 5 engine was incredible. Nothing else on this list really had tried to do that yet. So I think that is definitely noteworthy and puts it up a tier just for that fact alone, that the graphics are good and that the jump scares are complex. I'm really between A and B on this one. It's not an S tier game because of the evidence gathering alone and the fact that they seem to be receptive to their community with getting feedback, but also they only listen to the feedback they want to listen to. So I know a lot of content creators for the game are like, oh my God, they're always taking my feedback. They're always in the feedback section, this, that, and the other thing. And that's great, but fix the ESG, damn it. I don't know. That's all I got to say. So I'm gonna give it the A tier. I think it's worth it. I don't know. We're gonna see how it goes in the upcoming months. It may move down a rank, it may move up a rank, but it's not the best. What about S in our hearts? Exactly. Yes, it's an S in our heart. I think I saw Chris from Canada sneak in. Chris from Canada, welcome on in. Happy Friday, friend. It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I know Chris has been playing some Demonologist recently. All right. Also, screw the ESG. I definitely, I can't fight for evidence in the game. If I have to, I really don't enjoy playing it then. Because if I'm at the end of a round, and I've been in the round for 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, and I'm streaming the game, and I'm just sitting there looking at a wall while my chat is watching me, and I just can't do anything because the evidence is not giving me what I need, and I've done everything I can, then that's just boring content. That's terrible to watch. Like, I don't know. It's just not for me. But so yeah, it could have went B tier. It could have went A tier. I think it went A because of the things that they've given us so far that we have requested. I'm glad I didn't miss all the grading. Well, yes, you made it. You made it in time, Chris. You made it in time. On the other note, though, I'm doing great today, actually. I haven't felt this good in a month or so. Autumn, that's amazing to hear. I'm glad you're doing so well. That's so amazing. That's great. That doesn't sound like fun. Exactly, Kikachu. Exactly. It doesn't sound like fun. It's not fun for somebody who's just playing. It's not fun for a streamer making content. It's not fun for anybody. I'm going to lurk. Sugar Drops, thank you so much for the lurk. I appreciate it. Never be sorry for lurking, friend. I appreciate you being here. You have the same mic as me? Toes, that's awesome. I love this mic. It's great. It's great stuff. For the price point, it's fantastic. All right, next up is Devour. Devour is probably, to this day, one of the scariest games I've ever played live. And in general, too. The jump scares, when that possessed person comes at you, is unmatched. It's so good. It's so difficult. And the strategy that it takes to complete a round is definitely, it shows something about the player. And I like that, too. They always come out with new maps. There's a story in the game. It always kind of follows the same demonic possession of Azazel. The graphics are good. The detail is good. I like the creativity for the exorcism, essentially, to banish Azazel from the person's body. I think it's a really great concept. The amount of teamwork it takes to complete a round, like I said, it's really good. And I think it's balanced, but it's difficult. And I don't think, if it was any easier, I don't think I would like the game as much, if I'm being honest. I'm going to put this in the A tier. I think the only reason it's not S tier is because for some reason, the player base isn't there between updates as much. Like, everybody always goes back to the game during like an update, but then they just kind of stop and you don't hear anything about it. And then they come back. And then it's like, I just wish it had more of a consistent player base. The stream sucks. Listen, I think it could be deserving of S tier. I think they just need to figure out a way to make it have more replayability. Because the moment I finish a map, like the moment I complete it well, I agree with A tier. This is S tier content. Or there's a riot happening in chat. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I agree. Like I said, this is just my opinion. I totally understand if anybody doesn't agree. I think it could be S tier if the replayability was a little bit better. That's all. That's all. All right. So next is Escape the Backrooms. I know there's like Escape the Backrooms, there's Inside the Backrooms, there's all these backroom games. I just chose one of them to put it on here, but we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna rank all of it the same as one franchise. Wait, you hear bathroom? Wait, I'm not shitting right now. You hear something? Listen, all those subs were to influence the position of one of those games. Oh my god, I think I know what game you're talking about. It's They Die Tomorrow, isn't it? Oh goodness. It's They Die Tomorrow. Is that why Kill is here too? Kill sent the raid over because he knew They Die Tomorrow was on the list. Oh my goodness, this used to be a fun place. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. I'm not going to lie to you all. I did have Bubba Coo's burritos for dinner tonight. I think that might have been a side effect of that. I do apologize. To be honest, I was attacked. I was shocked it was on the list. I feel like it had to be on the list just because of what it was noted for in the community as it being a bit of a flop. Should we just go there now? Let's just go there now. Let's do it. They Die Tomorrow was an investigative horror game that came out by a developer that I think was Solo, from my understanding. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But it was good at first. It had promise. And it just seemed like they were listening to the wrong people. Like there were some suggestions there. They took the suggestions, put it into the game, made it terrible, made people not enjoy the mechanics of it. And then from that point on, they just kind of slowly died. And I guess it lost interest in that developer's mind. So for that reason alone, it goes in D tier. There's a difference between having a developer be absent with a good game and a developer being absent with a bad game. So it's just like Obsidio. Obsidio is a perfect example. Where the hell is it? Oh, here. Of like a good game being an absent developer. So we'll get to that too. They've got IRL in the way. Of course, yeah. It's, whatever the case may be, definitely, it's just, I didn't research into like, things that like reasons developers weren't here. More so just like, are they there to even help people out at this point? Pikachu, thank you for the lurk. I appreciate it. All right, so Escape the Backrooms.
And I miss you.
I love you too, Tactical. All right, Escape the Backrooms is one of those games you get to play with a large group of people. And you really are just kind of not really sure of what the hell is going on. You're inside of like this absolute maze, and it's just there's things trying to kill you. You're hiding in lockers in all these areas, and you're trying to run for your life outside of this place. And I honestly, it's one of those games that I never really understood because I was always running, and it was just pure chaos from start to finish, which was fun. If you're playing with your friends, it's fun. If you're playing by yourself, holy shit, is it terrible. So it's just, it's one of those things. But I enjoyed the game for what it was. So it's definitely above a C tier. Definitely above C because I enjoyed the gameplay. And I gotta say that the franchise has the ability to expand as far as it possibly wants. That's what I was talking about with the Inside the Backrooms, Escape the Backrooms, shitting in the backrooms. There's these hoes in the backrooms. I don't know. There's lots of backrooms. So yeah, so like, there's so many possibilities for this game. And you see it on TikTok. Like, there's stuff that's running at a person that's just a picture of a celebrity's face. And it's like an Inside the Backrooms mod that exists. And it makes it absolutely hilarious. If you're playing by yourself, holy shit, is it terrible. Chesney, you need to hook up Rotator with better toys. Oh my goodness. That's true. Yeah, maybe it is. I don't know. So I'm definitely going to say it's not an S tier game because the graphics of it are pretty terrible. I know that the graphics aren't like a point of influence of this game. It's not the main center of it by any means whatsoever. It's just a very big fact. It's a very simple game, and to make it look better would not be hard at all. But it's a game where the play style of it does not need to have better graphics. So I'm really between. I think I'm going to lean on B for this one, just because I don't feel like the game has a lot of direction. You're trying to escape, but from why, there's not a whole lot of story there, and I think it could be expanded upon. I'm going to be very honest and say I didn't spend a lot of time in this game or the other games like it. I almost want to put it in the have not played section, but since it's such a simple concept, I'm going to put it in B. Okay, next up is Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th servers are going to be shutting down at some point later this year. And if anybody doesn't know, the developers that created Friday the 13th are also creating Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a really, really anticipated game amongst the horror genre. And I hope that they learn from the mistakes of Friday the 13th with the licensing issues and everything, which I think they already have, and they put more resources into it, because the Friday the 13th servers were always pretty bad. There was always a lot of difficulties there, but the gameplay was fantastic. A lot of people always complain that Jason was too overpowered, but you're not supposed to be able to kill Jason. Jason is like a figure that can't die. Like, it's just like that would make no sense if you could kill Jason easier. There is a way to kill Jason, but it's very difficult. It requires the surviving team to come together in a way that's almost too complicated. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm very sorry, Tackle, it's not an S-tier game because of how many licensing issues they've had with this game and the inconsistency of playability from a server perspective. Also, the fact that they're still selling the game to this date. They're selling the game right now, but they're shutting down the servers this year. What sense does that make? Why were you going to charge people for a game that's not going to exist anymore soon? Like, make it free to play now. Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. And it really does make me a little bit worried for Texas Chainsaw Massacre's future, because I'm seeing the decisions that they're making now in this. And it's just, I'm worried. I really am. Am I going to buy Texas Chainsaw Massacre and play it? You freaking bet I am. Because it's going to be so much great content and so much fun gameplay. But I think that they really messed up on Friday the 13th. And I can't believe they didn't look into it earlier. The owner of the rights pulled them. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I don't blame them, honestly, because they were selling something that wasn't theirs. It just didn't make any sense. I don't know. I think it could have been handled better. But I've had a lot of great gameplay with it. It's been a lot of fun. So many laughs. We've had so many Midnight Society team events on the game and everything. I'm going to put it in the B tier. It's not a bad game. It just had some unfortunate circumstances with licensing. It just had unfortunate circumstances with licensing. That's all it comes down to. Isabella Nightblade, welcome on in, friend. How are you doing? It's good to see you. Happy Friday. Hope you're having an awesome week. I'm good with B tier with it. The friends make the content. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, if the content that comes from it is always good, the people who play it are always happy. It's just a matter of being able to play it, and there was a whole period of time where it wasn't playable as well, when they were having the peak of their issues. So it's just, I think that's the main reason why this went down to B. Fear Therapy is a game that I actually got introduced to by Doc Fishig. If anybody knows Doc's another wonderful member of the Midnight Society stream team. And I never probably would have played it if I didn't see him playing it himself. It's a game that I tried solo originally, and I got my cheeks clapped. They were clapped so hard I couldn't sit for a week. And there was just so much going on. I was being attacked from every which way. I have Fear Therapy, but I'm too scared to play. It's a scary game, Coach Chesney. It's a very scary game. I'm doing great. Hope you're having a great Friday so far. Isabel, I'm having a wonderful Friday so far. Thank you for being here, friend. I highly recommend people playing it. They only have a couple maps, which kind of stinks. I wish they had more maps, but the maps that they have, I love the story. It's very dark. I'm gonna put that there now. The story is very dark. So if you're sensitive to that kind of stuff, don't even try it. But it's very fun. It's constantly stimulating. It's very scary. The horror aspect is on point. And I definitely, though, the big caveat is that I think you need a team to play. You're not going to solo this. I've seen some people solo it. They are really good, and they know exactly where to go when things are happening. I have no idea where to go. I'm lost constantly, but it's a fun game. Wait, the what? The Fear Therapy. That's what we're talking about here. Fear Therapy. I don't know how many of you out there have played it. I know it's a game that's a little bit under the radar for a lot of people. It doesn't have a ton of player base, but it's a very fun game, and I think it's underrated. I am going to put this in the A tier because I think it's really good, and I think it nails every single objective it looks to hit. It's just, I wish they had more maps, and I wish they expand a little bit bigger. So I think if they continue to develop the game, it's going to be an S tier game. All right. I kind of I don't want to touch Midnight Ghost Hunt right now. I'm going to go into Forewarned because this is a game that I recently just replayed with Gremlin and Flash Force. I haven't been back to it in numerous updates, but we went and checked out the latest update, which did a pretty big overhaul on a lot of the mechanics of the game. They added 75 new ghost interactions. And just let that sit into your head for a second. 75 new ghost interactions in an update. That's incredible. Like, holy crap, how many games do you know of on this list that have even come close to that? Like, I think Demonologist probably has that many overall, but I don't think they would ever put that many new ones in. Like, that's very impressive. The game is super complex. What probably is the main reason why its player base isn't very big is because the game is so complex and so in depth that it's hard to understand what's going on. You get into that tomb and you're like, what do I do now? Like what are the evidences? What do the Magi's do? And you have to know how to navigate your tablet to get that information. I know every time I've introduced a new player to the game, they're always very confused for quite a few rounds. There's a massive learning curve there if you're coming from something like Phasmophobia. Does that make it a bad game? No. And I gotta give them mad props because they have a playable tutorial. It's not a walkthrough tutorial, it's a playable tutorial. So that's very good. And I'm very impressed by that, honestly. This game is a labor of love for these developers. They're constantly putting out new updates that you can tell from the complexity and the in-depthness of the game that they love it. The sound quality in the game is incredible. You really do feel like you're in a tomb. I think it's a really, really good game. For the sake of it being too confusing for new players, though, I'm going to put it in A tier. If they ever went back and reworked their tutorial and made it a little bit less of a learning curve for new players, because I feel like once a new player is confused, they're never going to play again. Unless they get a friend to show them how to play and basically show them the ropes. They're never going to play again. That's their opinion of the game. They're never going to come back. So for that reason, it's A tier. It's a really good game. If you haven't played it, please give it a shot. What's up, Aldi? Welcome in. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's definitely A tier. Played a few times with a friend, Isabella. It's a wonderful game. It is so scary, but it's so worth it. There's I love the Indiana Jones style, but also the fear of it. You can also get lost you can. My daughter taught me to play it. See? Chris, so you know firsthand that somebody had to show you the game to get started, and I'm sure that helped you out immensely compared to somebody who didn't have somebody to show them. I was Forewarned solo. Forewarned solo is definitely possible if you know what you're doing ahead of time. If you go in there for your first time solo, you're gonna die over and over and over again, and probably get frustrated and stop playing it. But once you know what you're doing, it's definitely doable solo. I played a couple times solo successfully. I usually keep it on an easy or normal difficulty. I won't go too far beyond that because I'm just not that good at the game, I guess. But I'm sure it's doable. Let's see here. Next, we got Ghost Exiles. Ghost Exiles is one of those games that came in early and everybody bought it. And then for some reason or another, a lot of us never played it again. I to this day, I don't really know what that reason was. I think it's because one of the main reasons for me is that there was an interesting voice recognition issue where they did text to speech. Like you would say something and they would try to text to speech it back, like in text form. And it was saying a lot of things that you weren't saying. And it got them in trouble very quickly, and they had to remove a lot of words from their overall word bank, if you will. And I think that was enough to leave a lot of bad taste in people's mouth to not play it again, especially from a content creation standpoint. Also, there was nothing really super unique about the game compared to other games in the genre from it. Kalo, you haven't played it since the first time you got it. Kill bought it and never played it. There was just nothing very interesting or unique that drew you in and said, I need to try this game out. It's got this mechanic, and I've never seen this before. I don't think there's much more to say about this game than that. It's going in D. It's going in the D tier. It tried to use a game genre, and they wanted to get some money out of it, and they didn't do anything unique with it. They just said, we're going to copy this person's game idea. We're going to use it ourselves, put some unique jump scares in it, have fun. That was it. All right. Ghost Exorcism Incorporated. I don't even want to rank this one. Because there's gonna be some people who are gonna be upset. What's up, LMC? Welcome on in. There's gonna be some people who may not like what I have to say about it. And I know that, but I'm gonna go in. We're gonna go in on it. Ghost Exorcism Incorporated was a game that came out very soon after Phasmophobia, and they saw Phasmophobia's overwhelming early success, and they said, let's make a game like that. But they did it in their own unique way. So automatically, way better than Ghost Exile. They did something unique. It was good. You had defensive items in it to stop the ghost from getting to you. There was ways to defend yourself with like flash cameras and everything, etc. It had a lot going on. I think a lot of the issue is the game does indeed have a bit of a learning curve to it. And they don't have a good tutorial. It's a walkthrough tutorial, and I hate walkthrough tutorials. I don't understand why a developer wouldn't be putting more time into an actual playable tutorial. The player is going to get so much more value out of it. I just don't get it. But so, whatever. It is what it is. So, they've added a lot of mechanics to make this game better over time. They've added like a numerous ghost mode, which was super cool. I've never seen any game do that, and I thought that was awesome. I love the maps. The maps are pretty cool. The graphics of the game leave some things to be desired. It's on an old engine, I'm assuming, at this point, and it probably should be updated, but it'd probably be a massive lift and a massive overhaul to make that happen. So I get not wanting to put the resources into that if the funds aren't there. But it's something that needs to happen for sure. And Shigus is in chat right now. He's an official content creator for the game, and he's saying it's in progress. So I definitely, if that's the case, then this game is going to go up in tier just from that fact alone. Whenever that happens, it's going to go up from that. There's a lot of bugs with the game, generally speaking, and I think some of those bugs give you an opportunity for some pretty comedic or humorous content to be made, or just playability. Like, it's just like, sometimes it's funnier than an actual bug itself, but it exists, and it's a problem nonetheless that they do eventually fix, but sometimes it just takes a little bit of a longer time to get that resolved than other games. Yeah, I don't know. I've never been the biggest fan of a game where, like, the moment you enter the house, that ghost is already pissed off. I've never been the biggest fan of that. I know we play some games where that does happen, but it's usually like a setting you have to turn on to make that happen. Suspending disbelief is vital to a lot of movies and games, but sometimes you just can't piss all over science. I know Kill hates the neutrino gun with a passion. He hates that gun, which I get because it's like scientifically not accurate, but also the existence of the ghost is probably not scientifically accurate either. So it is what it is. It's not a game I play very often. And I think I don't play it very often because of the graphical aspect of it and the fact that the game itself utilizes a lot of resources and it's not completely optimized from a graphical standpoint. I'm going to put this in the B tier list. If they do upgrade the graphics in the near future, this is definitely going to move into an A. I think at some point this was definitely a C tier game, but with the updates they've done over time to make it better and to give you more options to play, this moved up to B from that. So I think it's definitely a game worth playing and having on your library, but it's not yet an A tier game. So just keep that in mind. That's all. He loves B tier. It's comedic hate. It's just a game at the end of the day. It is. These are all just games, and they all definitely deserve some money one way or shape or form because it's a developer team that has put some time and some love into it. And as long as they're not like an absent developer like this game right here, you more than likely should at least give it a shot and form your own opinion on it. And I can tell you all that when I'm done with this list, I'm going to be sharing it in a bunch of Discords on Twitter and everything. And you could do this yourself and rank the games from best to worst and see what you think. All right. Moving on next is to Ghostwatchers. Ghostwatchers is actually a game I really enjoyed for some time. Although I thought that their jump scares got a little bit repetitious after a while and lost their punch, like that horror factor, because you kind of knew it was coming. It's still a good game. I like the investigative aspect to it. I know that this game, Ghostwatchers, is in development right now. Hopefully this next upcoming month to be giving every single one of the ghosts its own specific strength and weakness, which is super cool because right now they don't have that. So every ghost is about the same until you get the evidence. And you can't really deduct anything if you didn't get any evidence. So once they do that, this game is going to be way better. Like I love that Phasmo and Obsidio and a couple other games here have that like the trait ability. A demonologist, they have the ability for a ghost to have a strength and a weakness, and you can tell what it is even if you have no evidence at all. Yo, what's going on, Frenchie? Welcome in. I met Frenchie last night in a Phasmophobia public lobby. They're super great people. Welcome on into the channel. So, Ghostwatchers, I think, is a great game. Good graphics. It reuses a lot of Unity assets, which is what it is at this point. I feel like a lot of these things on this list reuse Unity assets. So I'm not going to really stick them for that. I think it's just if you don't have a big budget, you have to do what you have to do, and I understand that. It also has defensive items, just like Ghost Exorcism Incorporated does. And if I'm being honest, they probably ripped off the idea of defensive items from Ghost Exorcism Incorporated. It's very obvious that they probably did do that. It has an in-game marketplace. You can buy things to stop the ghost from dragging you, get extra inventory slots. There's a reason to get in-game currency, so it gives you more replayability for that reason. I do like that a lot. I'm going to put this at A tier. I think it's a great game, and I think it could be better, and they're working to make it better. I don't know. It probably realistically is a B tier game, but I've loved it. I've enjoyed it so much that me personally, I have to put it in A. I've enjoyed the content they put out. And they put out an update almost every single month. Like, that's really impressive. They have like 10 developers or so working on this game. That's a pretty big dev team, and it has an opportunity to create a lot of stuff. So that's a whole other reason, is that they really do put out the updates, where a lot of these other games don't put them out for months. Beer tier? What kind of beer are we talking about? I've played one game of Ghostwatchers. I died immediately and spent the rest of the time watching Epic stand in the corner screaming. That sounds exactly like Epic. Yep, that sounds like it. Drunk ghost hunting is always great. We still, to this day, have never done a drunk Phasmophobia stream. Missed opportunity, probably, but we'll get there eventually. For the love of God, I gotta turn on a fan real quick. I am dying. Why is it so hot in here? Holy hell. All right, sorry. All right. Next, we're gonna be moving over to Labyrinthine. That's how you pronounce that, right? Labyrinthine. I don't know why they could have just spelled it Labyrinth. Why do they have to make it complex and difficult? Oh, well. Ghostwatchers is crap and doesn't deserve A tier. I said it. I knew you were going to say it, Chingus. I knew you were. I knew you probably feel like it's a C tier game. And that's totally, if that's how you feel, I respect it. Labyrinthine is one of those games I haven't been back to in some time. I haven't played many of their newer updates. But the game, I remember that when I first played it, there was five contracts out, and they were really good. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, and I love playing with friends. They had some pretty cool monsters that were roaming around. There was a maze factor. It was super easy to get lost, which added to the fear and the confusion of all of it. Decent graphics, had character customizations, and cool things you can get with events. A very responsive dev team that did push out updates really pretty regularly for the most part. I don't really have anything bad to say about this game. The only thing bad I think I could say about the game is really a me thing, is that the puzzles were a little hard at times. And that's just because I'm smooth-brained. That's because I don't have a lot of wrinkles in my brain. And sometimes the puzzles get me tripped up. But honestly, it's a really good game. I got freaked out in Labyrinthine and never played it again. It made me feel claustrophobic. Yeah, the first map with the maze, with like the shrub maze, will definitely get you if you're claustrophobic, Lily. Yes, that's a big thing to note there. Labyrinthine is really scary. I highly recommend getting a pen and paper because you'll forget stuff if you don't know. That's a wonderful suggestion, Isabel. You're right. It's that difficult. Nixie got me to play it once, never been back. The puzzles are hard. The puzzles are really hard. So I'm you know what? I'm so glad that there's some people in chat who felt the same way about the puzzles, because I wasn't sure if it was a me thing. I didn't know if I was this dumb or if I was like, or if there was some really hard puzzles. And some of them I was stuck on for a while, and I really just didn't know what to do. And eventually I figured it out, but usually it took some chat help to get me going. So, yeah. I actually don't know why you give it an A tier if ghosts aren't well-rounded. Just saying. Well, because they've actually made a good effort to start moving in that direction. So far, the last update they did made Ghost Watchers Ghost more well-rounded. I can't speak right now, I don't know why. And then in July, there's going to be another one that's going to be adding strength and weaknesses to them. So they're showing a very big initiative that, hey, this is a problem in our game, and we're fixing it. And we want your help. Actually, in fact, the Ghost Watchers developer even said in an announcement, we have opened up a channel in our Discord for you to help us look at these ideas and give us some feedback on them. Like, that's not something most developers do. And if they do, they don't take the people's actual opinions into consideration. So I'm really watching that space to see if they do follow through with it. Definitely not just me. All right, fantastic. So I think that the fact that these puzzles are so hard, and the fact that it is a little confusing, excuse me, but it's intended to be so, it just wasn't for me. I'm going to put it at B tier. If there's somebody out there who loves puzzles and loves that challenge, that's probably going to be an A or S tier game for you. But for me, I just got stuck a lot, and I was kind of confused. But once I got it, I was loving the game. So in between those puzzle lockups, I was great. Until then, but when they happened, I was confused. Not Dead by Daylight in D tier, Remy's. We were all saying, including myself, that Dead by Daylight deserves D tier simply for the toxic community that it brings. It's a good game, it's a good idea, but the toxicity of the game itself makes it bad. So that was the only reason it's down there. Otherwise, it's a great game. If you played a custom game with your friends, and there's no hard feelings if you kill somebody in a toxic way, then I guess it's great. But that never happens. At least not for me. It's a D tier game for you. That's fair, Coach. Yeah, if you're a person who doesn't like a lot of puzzles, then definitely. Okay, Lunch Lady is up next. Lunch Lady is a game that I will go back to every so often because I really do love the concept of it. It's not very investigative. You just have to find the 10 pages of the quiz. So let me just start with this. Lunch Lady is essentially a game where you have to find 10 test answer pages. You're a student at the high school and you want to pass your final exam, but you're dumb and you need to find the test answer keys, which is 10 pages scattered throughout a high school. And there's a angry, mad, crazy lunch lady who is looking to take you out because you're in school after dark. And when you're trying to look for those 10 pages, she's lurking the halls with her frying pan ready to bonk you on the head with it. or throw it from long distances. So I think that Lunch Lady is really good. High school version of original Slenderman, absolutely it is. Slenderman probably deserved a place on this list, if I'm being honest. Wait a minute, was Slenderman multiplayer? I don't think it was. Maybe that's why I didn't put it on the list. I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, why didn't I put it on this list? I don't think it was multiplayer. I thought it was funny with Lunch Lady. She knocks you out with a frying pan. Yes, and you get to you get to hear that sound of the frying pan hitting you, which is pretty funny. And the whole look of Lunch Lady was pretty funny. Like, everything about the game is good. They have some really polished maps. I wish the game would come out with more updates, but maybe it will in the future. Who knows? But what's out there for the game right now is really fun. It's really simple. There's not a lot of learning curve to it. You simply loop the Lunch Lady around. The more pages you get of the test answer key, the faster she becomes. It's very often a desired strategy for one person to constantly keep looping her, while the rest of the team goes and finds the pages and the keys to open doors that are locked. This is a very straightforward game. And I think for that reason, it's an A-tier game. It is definitely an A-tier game. Visu, what's up, friend? Thank you for that too, by the way. I thought I heard a little fart in the back of my ears. Visu, welcome on in. Thank you for being here, friend. Happy Friday. So yeah, if anybody disagrees with this with Lunch Lady, I'd be pretty surprised. I haven't met a single person who doesn't like Lunch Lady. It's a really fun game. I can't say anything bad about it. It's good. It's laughably, it's like a comedic horror game in its own way. We got Obsidio now. Obsidio is a game that I actually have put a lot of time into. I really loved it. I loved it for a while. And then the solo developer who was a university student, just like disappeared off the face of the planet. And never even gave an announcement of, hey, I'm busy. Hey, I'll be back soon. Hey, we're going to still work on this game. Just nothing. And it was a good game. It was good gameplay wise. There was so much of it that was left unfinished, but it's still playable to this day. It still is playable. It's very similar to Phasmophobia. There's not really much of a hiding mechanic either, other than just keeping your electronics off and hiding behind a corner, which always kind of sucked. I know that there was real hopes to do hiding at one point of the game, and it just never came to pass. There was also more maps that were supposed to be a thing, and they wanted to do procedurally generated maps, which never came to pass either. Lots of promises that were not delivered upon because of the solo developer aspect of it. It was a good game, though, and I would love this game to be revived. If the guy who made it ever watches this video or this VOD, please come back. Please. So I'm going to put it in the C tier because it was a good game overall. It's still playable, but honestly, the developer hit the road. So it is what it is. You hate to see it, but at least the money you spent on it is worth it because you can always go back to it for some memories. What's going on, Nightly? Welcome on in. Hi, friend. So what is the rating? The rating red being bad, green and being good. Oh, no. So, Nightly, so S tier is the best. S tier is amazing. And then it goes progressively worse from that. If you've not played the game, then you would put it in not played. I played all these games because I created this tier list. But for somebody who's taking this tier list who isn't me, they may not have played these options. So they would put them down here. So yes, the best is on the top. The worst is at the bottom. Great question. And welcome on in. Let's see here. I tried Obsidio, but I didn't know what I was doing. Didn't give you a tutorial to let you learn what to do when you're playing. Yeah, Isabella, I think that's a really good point that I didn't even think about. I think because I was coming from Phasmo to this game, I knew pretty much what to do immediately without any needing for a tutorial at all. But for a lot of people who just came into this is maybe their first horror game, they had no idea whatsoever. So that's a good point, and probably an even better reason as to why it should belong in C tier. Yo, Eve, what's going on? Holy crap, welcome on in. Rocky Raccoon, what a freaking amazing name. Rocky Raccoon, welcome into the channel. Thank you so much for the follow, and welcome to the Tater Talk community. Happy Friday to you. We're doing some tier rating on these games. Can we get a shout out for It Is Eve, please? I finally had an opportunity to catch another one of their lives recently. And I gotta say, wonderful community over there. Really, really great streamer. I think they're very awesome. Vibes over there are fantastic, and I can't wait to be back. And I will do a stretch. So thank you so much for the stretch. Appreciate you. Oh, goodness. Yesterday was shoulder day, and that hurts really bad. Oh, God. Oh, goodness. Thank you so much for the stretch. All right. So next game.
Water.
Water. We're going to hydrate. We have been talking a lot. Oh, sorry. I couldn't keep going. The Wi-Fi is asked for some reason. Thank you for those words. No, of course. Yeah, definitely. I hope your Wi-Fi gets fixed, whatever the issue may be. And you are very welcome. Like I said, can't wait to come back. Will D's, thank you so much for being here, friend. Welcome on in. Thank you for the gifted sub to Beardedtopia. Very kind of you. Welcome on in. How are you doing on this wonderful Friday? You ready for the weekend? The gifted sub. I owe you all Toon Beans. Once we finish these last few games, I owe you all 2 Bean Boozled Beans. So please, hold me to that. All right. Next game is Occult. I know there's probably a ton of people here who don't know what the heck Occult is. I want to just... I don't even know if maybe somebody could check it for me. The creators of Occult created another game too, and I don't remember what it is. So, I'm so sorry I don't know. I knew it last night and I forgot now. But Occult was a pretty good game. It was fun with friends for sure. Definitely a very clear objective. Pretty funny because it had some interesting bugs. Graphics were something to be desired. But honestly, it was a very straightforward game, and I did enjoy it. I haven't played it too much, but I know a lot of people who have. It's very enjoyable, and I really recommend trying it out. Like I said, it's not one of those games that is super well known. It's not a game that is, on a high tier ranking list for people. So, but for me, since I actually did enjoy it for the most part, it's going to be B tier. All right, Pacify is next. Pacify was another one of those games. Hold on a second. Dude, I am on a 9-day vacation. Let's go. Holy shit, 9 days? Oh my God, I hope you got some cool stuff planned, Will. Hope you're going to be going are you going away, or is it a bit of like a staycation? Like you just chilling at home? Either way, I hope you enjoy that time off. That's great. Okay. Pacify is another game that was pretty earlier on in the horror genre on Steam. It was probably created around the time of Phasmophobia. It may even have been before Phasmophobia, but it was definitely around that time. And it was very well received. And I think they do occasional updates to the game at this point. There was definitely some inspirations taken from Pacify that were incorporated in some of these other games on this list. And it was a lot of fun. Very scary because you really didn't know what to expect since it was so early on in the genre. And I don't think they ever had a matchmaking system per se. I don't know if there was like a public lobby system. I think it was just like, you join friends essentially. Like you can invite people through Steam who you want to play with. But it was a lot of fun. And you just had to there was like this one entity who was either possessed or had a demonic presence in it. And essentially you had to kind of exercise it in one way, shape, or form. It's not just one thing. Like I know the girl is the very famous one from the first map, but there's other ones too now at this point. It's not a game I revisit too often anymore. I would actually love to play it again at some point because it gives me a lot of Devour vibes, but it's not nearly as good as Devour is. I'm gonna put it at B tier. Yeah, we're gonna put this one at B tier. I feel pretty good about that. Paranormal Cleanup was created by the same people who made Lunch Lady. Paranormal Cleanup was a game that got released in either February or March of this year. And to be honest, it didn't get a lot of love after it got released. There was a lot of bugs with the game, a lot of camera issues with it. Like perspective, point of view issues. It was very difficult too. But once you figured out how to get your way around the location, you were pretty much able to never get caught by the entity again. So it was definitely, it was easy. It was easy to solo, which was kind of upsetting. Honestly, this game did not get enough updates to even make it close to B tier. I'm going to put it in the D tier because it needs more developer love. And to be honest, I think at this point they should scrap this idea and just focus more on Lunch Lady. Lunch Lady was the better, well-received one. Essentially, they took they carbon copied the gameplay mechanics from Lunch Lady, and they put it into Paranormal Cleanup, and it just wasn't nearly as good. So, just scrap Paranormal Cleanup and just focus on Lunch Lady from here on out. Is Crimson Snow on this list? Oh no, Will Dees, this is actually only co-op horror game, so anything that's multiplayer. So Crimson Snow was a fantastic game. I did play it over the holiday season, but it's a single-player game. Wipe it, yeah, wipe it up. You gotta clean it up. Get the little broom and the collector, and just clean it up, just like you do in game. Grem, what's up, friend? Welcome on in. Hope you're having an incredible day. If anybody's know Grem, he's another wonderful Midnight Society team member, one of the most wholesome variety horror streamers on all of Twitch. And if you're not checking him out, he's a wonderful friend of mine. Please go drop him a follow and show him that potato love. All right. So going back in, we're on to Conrad Stevenson's Paranormal PI. Conrad Stevenson's Paranormal PI was a very niche game. It's not an investigative horror game in the sense of Ghost Exorcism and Obsidio and Demonologist and Phasmo and all those other games are. It is a ghost hunting simulation game that basically lays out your objectives and you do them. And it gives you the opportunity to get a little jump scared, but you can't die in the game, which is always a bit of a drawback for me. It's cool. It's cool, but it was a concept for those who didn't want to die in games. So I think it was a super awesome idea. They are updating the game pretty regularly, adding new locations and objectives and scares and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, it just wasn't a game for me. I didn't enjoy the fact that there was no skill to it, really, and it just felt like a simulation game. And if I wanted to play a simulation game, I'll simulate something other than ghost hunting. I'm in for ghost hunting for the scares and for the possibility of death and fun. So Conrad Stevenson's Paranormal PI, putting you down in the sea. Good for some people, but not good for me. Phantom Hysteria. Phantom Hysteria. That's another one of those games that we all probably bought, but really didn't play much after that. There was some really cool concepts there, because you got to like shoot the ghost and stuff like that, and like, exorcise it or, get rid of it in some way, shape, or form. The voice acting was done by a lot of the people we know. Doc was in there, Tom was in there, etc. And that was great. It was made by people we know. But to be honest, I think it was a game that fell a little short of the mark they were looking to hit, and it didn't have a lot of replayability. The graphics were fine. Its optimization was a little shoddy. It probably needed to be optimized a little bit more. And the mechanics were good, but like I said, I don't know why, but for some reason, the replayability just wasn't there. So it's not a bad game. It just, I don't know, it needs more. And I don't know what it's missing. And if anybody in chat knows, and maybe I'm just not thinking of the correct way to put it, there's just something missing about the game. And I'm not really sure what it is. Oh, it's just rinse and repeat. It really is. It really is just rinse and repeat. And I don't know, there's just no feeling of accomplishment from like defeating the entity in that round. And it actually is pretty difficult to defeat the entity. It's almost like a little bit of a boss fight towards the end, which seems a little bit repetitive and kind of annoying. Because it's not like I'm really gaining much by doing it. It's just, it's harder for no reason at all. You know what it seems like? It almost seems like they were trying to take some MMO aspects and putting it into a ghost hunting game. Also, they didn't really do a very great job at advertising it when it first came out. I think that was a lot of the reason of its downfall. It's like, to this day, I'm sure many people in the chat have no idea what Phantom Hysteria is. Like, why is it even on this list? I'm going to put it in the D rank. I don't know. There's something about it I don't like, and I'm not really sure what it is. It doesn't have anything that's drawing me to it at all. We're up to Phasmophobia at this point. You guys know I'm very biased about this. It's a game that kind of started out the investigative horror genre in Steam. It's come a long way from its beginning stages, its infancy stages when it first released. It's been out now for over 2 years. It's going to be coming to console in August. The dev team has done a lot of great jobs in getting the new content out there, although there's been a little bit of a content hiatus over the last few months, probably because this next update in July is going to be a massive one with the level wipe and actually getting itself ready for full release. I don't know. The community that's around Phasmo is unmatched. There's something special about it. I've met a lot of wonderful people through it, and I can't say that about a lot of these other games. There's a community around Phasmophobia, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I think it's because it was one of the first pioneers in its genre. For that reason, it is absolutely S tier for me. Yeah, exactly. You're getting to see it grow. We got Phylacterion. Phylacterion is another investigative ghost hunting game where the ghost could possess a vessel. A vessel is some sort of an inanimate object inside of the house that the ghost can actually go into and possess. You have to find out what that vessel is, and then you have to exercise it through a variety of steps that will be determined based on what kind of ghost is inside of it. That's a pretty fun game. I played it with Coach Chesney not too long ago. I like it multiplayer. I like it solo. It's a soloable game. The maps are pretty cool. They have like 6 maps, I think. Don't hold me to that one. Decent amount of maps. It doesn't have a big of a player base as some of these other games on this list by any means. In fact, I would say it's very indie and it's very under the radar for most people. I think it could be deserving a little bit more love that it's getting. There definitely needs to be a little bit of a layer of complexity to the playability of this game. It's very simple. Like I could bump out a hard map in like a minute. Like that's not even exaggeration. Like 2 minutes tops, and you could probably finish a round if you tried hard enough and you knew what you were doing. I have honestly never heard of it. I have to check it out. Yeah, I'm definitely Kalo Fox. I highly recommend it. It's a very fun game. It really is. It's unique. It's unique because the ghost is not like embodied. Like it's not like a manifested thing at first. It's inside of this vessel and you can carry it around and stuff. But there's no hiding factor in this game. The ability to hide in this game is like non-existent. You have to make sure you don't have the vessel on you and run. And they have a talent point system. They have a talent tree that you could put like points in as you level up to give yourself perks. But also that kind of leaves people who are new to the game a little bit in the dust. So if you're new to the game, it's a bit of a grind to get up to the points that make the game easier. I think for the lack of hiding, but really good gameplay, I'm going to put this in B tier. There's nothing really that bad with it. It needs some work. It needs a little bit of work. It's a B tier game, in my opinion. Remnant Records. Remnant Records came out and is, I think, a 4-player co-op game, and it came out in March of 2023. It's a relatively newer game. It's got a bit of issues, but the reviews on it are mostly positive. We played it once or twice on stream, and I was actually really happy with it. I don't know why I haven't been back. I think I just got caught up with so many other games in my gaming, my wait list, if you will, like my backlog of games that I wanted to play. Remnant Records is definitely a good game, and I highly recommend giving it a shot because it does have some good graphics, and the playability of it's great. It's a lot of fun. I think for this game, I don't like that you are literally missing abilities if you don't have a full team. For what game, Lily? Which game are we talking about here? Remnant Records? Yeah, I definitely agree with that because it has like that, almost like that class system that you need to be able to build a team in order to get a round completed. That was a system that a lot of games said they were going to come out with, most notably The Hauntings, which never came out. So, I don't know. It's something to consider for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a big drawback of it. I was definitely not going to put this as an A-tier game because I haven't played it enough to be able to gather that level of intel from it. I think, I'm going to be honest, I don't want to step on any toes with this one. I think I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it in the have not played. Because I've only played it twice. The only reason I really put it on here is because I know there's a decent player base for it and people love the game. And I think it's a game worth your time. So I'm going to keep it down here for right now because I just don't have enough experience in it to really draw a massive conclusion. The Forest. The Forest is a survival game that everybody pretty much knows at this point. They have Sons of the Forest. I didn't put Sons of the Forest on here. I just wanted to focus on the main game. The Forest is super popular. So many people have played it. Everybody knows the story. It has building. It has survivability. It has a story mode in it. There's so much going on in it. And I think it's a game that will forever have people going back to playing it. For sure, this is an S tier game. Without question. It was a fantastic game. From start to finish. Frog Matrix, welcome back in. How are you doing, friend? I hope you're having an incredible Friday. It's good to see you. Been a little while. How have you been, Frog? Yeah. I don't know. I really do feel like everybody who's played The Forest feels like it should belong in A and S tier. I don't know if anybody would disagree with that. If you do and you think it's a shit game, let me know. Let me know in chat. I'd love to hear it. I'm open to it. Queen Salem! Queen Salem, welcome on in, Raiders! Nails B, how are you doing? How are the rest of your games? Oh, you switched on over to some Dead by Daylight. I know you finished Slender. I know you did the Phasmo Weekly Challenge, and you played some DBD. What a well-rounded stream. I hope you had an incredible one. Thank you so much for sharing your community with me. Brianna77, welcome on in. Thank you so much for being here. Wait, what happened? Did I miss something? The timing. I'm glad somebody clipped it because I guess I went over my head. Welcome in, Raiders. If anybody from my stream does not know Queen Salem, they're a fantastic variety horror streamer and a super wonderful content creator. They're super nice. I love hanging out in their streams whenever I can catch them live. They're on TikTok. They are on, they're on all the social medias and stuff. Please make sure you go show them some love. Go give them a follow. Check them out the next time they're live because they're wonderful, wonderful people, and I'm very glad to have met them. And if anybody in the raid does not know who I am, my name's the Brotator Chip. I'm a variety horror streamer and member of the Midnight Society stream team. Play a lot of investigative horror games over here. Phasmo, Demonologist, Ghost Watchers, Forewarned, Obsidio, all that kind of stuff. And speaking of that, we're actually currently starting the stream off for the first hour and a half doing a ranking list of all of the games that I consider to be co-op horror. And we're ranking them from S to D tier. So, welcome on in. You guys caught the tail end of it. Thank you for being here with us. All right, let's jump right back into it. Because right after we're done with this, we are going to get into Phasmo community games. We love Rotate. Nails B, thank you so much. Thank you for the love. Enjoy you. Thank you for being here. Thank you all so much for the raids. Okay. This is a Ghost. Another one of those games that came out and people all tried it. We enjoyed it. We never went back to it. I gotta say though, this game had some seriously cool mechanics. Like Ghost Exiles brought in like the ability to draw runes and stuff to anger the ghost or start the ritual. This game also did that. And I think it did it a little bit more of an enjoyable way. This game also has guns, so you can shoot the ghost, which is always pretty badass, let's be honest. And yeah, I think it was a good game overall. I don't know, I didn't have anybody to play with. I didn't know anybody that did play it. So it's a game I would have loved to play multiplayer, but I didn't have the chance to do so. Or else I probably would still play it every now and then again, to this day. It's a solo developer as well. So the updates to the game are very far and few. It's very small updates whenever there are any. I don't know if the developer ever really took people's feedback, if I'm being honest, and made the game any better. It looks like they kind of like took the money and just kind of sat around and watched to see how the game progressed in people's, in the sales numbers, which I don't really think is a great thing. It's an okay game. And it's definitely a game I recommend trying out at some point, but just know that it doesn't have a very big player base and you're not going to get many updates to the game. That's the big downside to it. But other than that, it's a C tier game. It's okay. Midnight Ghost Hunt, I left this one to last because I almost didn't even know if it belonged on this list. It's a game where you have ghosts and you have ghost hunters, and the ghost hunters are trying to exterminate the ghosts, but the ghosts can also inhabit objects and take out the ghost hunters. I don't know. It's very like round-based styled, and it felt almost like a AAA game that fell short of the mark. And I think a lot of horror people like who enjoyed scary games played it and thought to themselves, "Is this going to be a scary game?" And it just wasn't. Played it a little. It's not bad. It could be fun with the right group. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, if you take the game for what it is, it's definitely fun with a group of friends. Lots of laughs to be had there for sure. The graphics are great. The gameplay is good. It's pretty smooth, and it's very transparent. It has a nice tutorial. If I remember correctly, it had a very good tutorial. I think I just went in there with different expectations than what the game actually was. I'm going to put it at C tier for that reason. Realistically, it's probably a B tier game, but since there was some sweaty people in there. I remember I played a public lobby once and the people were sweaty. Like, I felt like I was playing with COD gamers. People were like just not having fun with it at all. So yeah, toxic player base like Kayla is talking about in chat right now. I don't know. It's something to be desired. It's fun, but it's fun in the right setting. So everybody, I think that concludes our 28 game tier list. Hope you found this somewhat informational. And you got to at least see a little bit of the inside look as to how I think these games are in a grand scale. I will definitely take this ranking tier list and share it in my Discord if anybody wants to do it themselves and share it. I'm more than happy to hear any feedback. I appreciate everybody in chat participating, giving me your thoughts on it. I really enjoyed doing this. And like I said, if you disagree with me, totally no hard feelings. It is your opinion, and you are definitely entitled to your opinion. I believe that. Like I said, any of the games you see down here, if you think they should be higher, I respect it. I really do. I do. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you found it informational, and I hope you enjoyed the ranking system. This is something I decided to do after a long time of streaming and people asking me numerous questions about how I thought different horror games were ranking against each other and which ones I preferred the most. Of course, again, I just want to do a little bit of a disclaimer. This is totally my own opinion, and if you disagree, I would love to hear your opinions down in the comments section. Please feel free to drop a subscribe on the channel if you enjoy this content and you want to see more videos. Do a lot of playthroughs, and feel free to even join us on Twitch. Go catch us live Sunday, Tuesday, and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all, my friends, and of course, stay crispy.